Naruto exclusive videos Lemon come out on my Boosty. You can watch and subscribe. There is also a 20% discount on the 4th subscription level now. Link in the description. Enjoy watching. Description: Naruto discovers the ability to speed up his training using clones before his first Chunin exam, but has no idea what it could lead to when people like Danzo and Orochimaru notice his abilities. Chapter 1: Chunin Exam. Along the streets of Konoha, older people cautiously avoided them, while children pestered them with questions about their villages. Here and there, posters were hanging inviting shinobi to the tournament. Shops were preparing for the influx of guests from other countries, changing price tags and displaying souvenirs. Naruto loudly slammed his bowl on the table, sucking up the rest of his noodles. Another bowl. You're eating more than usual today, Naruto. Of course, little sister, you'll need a lot of strength for the exam. The exam is already so soon? Oh, how you've grown, Naruto. Without stopping stuffing his mouth, Naruto nodded vigorously in response. Little sister, have you seen Kakashi? Yee. I looked towards the customer sitting in the corner of the shop and hiding behind a book with a strange cover. Ika Paradise. What did you want, Naruto? The customer asked without lowering the book. Kakashi-sensei. Kakashi-sensei, will they ask about theory on the exam? Most likely yes, Kakashi answered in an even voice. Sensei, you are a jonin, you should have the answers, let me see. Naruto. Kakashi tiredly put the book on the counter and looked into the boy's eyes. If you become a shinobi undeservedly, your friends will have to die next to you one day. Kakashi-sensei. I don't have time for theory, I need to become Hokage. Well, if time is an issue, be home tonight. Naruto nervously finished his ramen and, thanking his sister Ayame, went to train. With a stomach full to the brim, it was difficult to practice the movements, and after another series of blows, he collapsed on the grass. One day I will become Hokage and cancel the theory exam. Stupid exam. A real shinobi has more important things to do than learn the names of cities. Naruto clenched his fists. Deciding that he had nothing more useful to do today, Naruto went home and started playing cards with the clones while waiting for Kakashi. Naruto, sleepily squinting, peered into the grins of the clones, when Kakashi jumped into his window with a stack of books. A couple of his clones dispersed and Naruto cried out, I knew they were cheating. That's what I wanted to talk about. Kakashi threw a meaningful look at Naruto, and he looked up from his cards. Naruto, you just found out what cards the clones had, didn't you? Yes, sensei. Those guys were shamelessly cheating. You can receive the clones' memories. Yes, Databeo. And you can create several hundred clones. More. I can create 1,000. Naruto frowned proudly. 30 clones will be enough for you. With them, you will have enough time to study for the exam. Kakashi put the books on the littered table and climbed back into the window frame. Give each clone a textbook and you'll be able to read them in a couple of days. Good luck, Naruto. When Kakashi left, Naruto smirked contentedly. I'll leave all the studying to these shameless clones. 2 hours later, his face was sour again. The clones didn't want to read the textbooks at all. Day exam. Naruto, you look just horrible. Sakura-chan languidly said Naruto, remembering how Midnight tried force clones study. You saw Sasuke? Why? His all more no. Naruto sluggishly shook head v sides and became look around. There was a tense atmosphere in the crowd of young shinobi from different villages. Naruto, Sakura. Huh? Sasuke-kun. Sakura shuddered and turned around at the voice while the thought flashed through her head. Sasuke came up so quietly, he is a wonderful shinobi. The first will be the theoretical exam. It will be a team stage, Naruto. If I don't pass it because of you, you will die. If I pass better than you will leave Sakura alone. Naruto, what are you? Sakura began to blurt out. Excellent, Sasuke grinned, leaving her with an embarrassed face. When all the shinobi gathered and went to the classroom, the rules were explained to everyone. The exam began. Sitting at his desk, Naruto nervously glanced around. When they were given sheets of paper with questions, he was horrified. None of this was in the school textbooks that he had managed to read. He started to turn his head in search of an explanation, but everyone around him was quickly drawing something with pencils on sheets of paper. It seemed that everyone around him was already a chunin. Why was he the only one who didn't understand anything? Looking around the room, Naruto ran into the back of Sasuke's head. He started to fix his hair, strangely folding his fingers. "Look here, Yujiro Tanki. I hope you remember the gesture system we trained with Kakashi-sensei." Naruto, watching Sasuke tirelessly fixing his hair, could only get angry. Even at a moment like this, he cares about how he looks in front of Sakura. I have to beat him. Some very young shinobi, overly excited, left the exam. His team, seeing this, disappointedly threw down their pencils and left after him. Meanwhile, one of the observers looked at Sasuke's childish attempts to convey information and smirked. Why did Naruto even come here? But unexpectedly for him, Naruto began to scribble answers as if he didn't even need to think about them. The observer began to look for him to cheat, but the longer he looked, the more amazed he became. He clearly doesn't look at Sasuke's gestures. Among all these Chunin candidates, most of them cheated using basic techniques. There were few who distinguished themselves, but there was no one who could hide how he cheated. How does Naruto do it? He can't possibly know the answers. It's too difficult even for a Jonin. The observer glared at Naruto, but he continued to write at an incredible speed. Nonsense, he probably just writes whatever comes to mind so as not to look like a fool to others. Well, at least he'll maintain Konoha's reputation, that's already good. Having found an acceptable explanation for himself, the observer stopped paying attention to Naruto. Soon the exam was over and the tired genin left the classroom. The board of observers began checking the tests. Sasuke-kun, did you get everything right? Sakura greeted him smiling in the hallway. Naruto, you took too long to remember the gestures. I'll ask Kakashi-sensei to give you some extra training. What gestures? Didn't you understand anything? What did you write there then? What are you talking about? I wrote everything, Databeo. Gestures, Naruto. You spend half the exam looking at my hair. No. Naruto pouted, afraid that Sakura would think something wrong. After that incident with the kiss, it looked weird. I can't wait another year. Sasuke hit the wall and looked angrily at Naruto. I'm not going to either. Sasuke and Naruto exchanged furious glances, turned around and walked in different directions. Sasuke-kun. Naruto noticed out of the corner of his eye how Sakura was catching up with Sasuke. Something in his chest pricked as usual, but he knew that tomorrow everything would change. The next day, Sasuke came to the exam building all exhausted and rumpled. He hadn't been able to sleep all night, and had ended up spending it in the forest practicing shuriken throws. Walking resignedly to the scoreboard, Sasuke looked up and began searching for their names on the list. Who is it? How did he do it? A whisper was heard in the crowd. He scored 100, that's impossible. Sasuke finally found their names and his hands began to shake. It seemed to him that his eyes were deceiving him. He checked over and over again whether he was reading the right line of the table, but the Sharingan does not make mistakes. Naruto scored 100 points. The day before the exam. Naruto, you owe us. Yes, I know. If we get caught, we will not cover for you. We will say that he forced you as a senior. I will tell everything myself if you get caught, Takumi. But you will not be caught. Naruto smiled and stuck out his thumb. Everything will work out, Databeo. Takumi and his friends, being genin, registered for the exam. As the plan suggested, on the day of the exam, the three appeared in the classroom. In the middle of the exam, Takumi left the classroom, and after him came his team with disappointed faces. Stepping outside and reaching the nearest alley, they turned into smoke with a popping sound. If there was a shinobi there, he would immediately recognize the sound of clones disappearing. At the same time, in the Konoha library, hundreds of Naruto clones began to run madly around the hall. Each of them was looking for a vital answer to just one question. The question for which they were born. Frantically leafing through the books, one of Naruto's clones joyfully cried out. Found it! And immediately dissipated. At the same time, Naruto grinned in the exam hall and, having stopped looking at Sasuke's annoying hair, feverishly began to write the answer. Now, if only I could get it done in time. There was one question for each of the 3 shadow clones. Finding the answer to one question for 3 people in a well-organized library was not difficult. Naruto used the transformation technique so that his 3 clones turned into Takumi and his friends. When the clone ran into Takumi's acquaintances in the corridor before the exam, it was difficult for him to, and this time, looking at the 100 points and Sasuke's incredible face, he was proud of his work. Chapter 2. The Power of Experiments. An elderly man with a bandaged face full of scars was walking down a dark corridor. A shadow flashed behind him, and he stopped. Report, the man said dryly without turning around. The village of Sand has strong genin. Gaara, the son of the Kazekage, especially stood out. He has special sand techniques. The shinobi of the Sound village do not look like genin. It seems they have already undergone training close to the level of an experienced chunin. Sasuke of the Uchiha, as expected, is the most promising, but so far does not reach the level of Hyuga Niji. You are proud, Hyuga, but do not let this overshadow your vision. He is arrogant. This is an unacceptable flaw for a young shinobi. Excuse me, Lord Danzo. The shinobi in a mask with a visible Byakugan bowed his head. Anything else? The man asked sternly. Yes. Naruto somehow managed to score 100 points. Even the decoys didn't have all the answers individually. To get all the answers, it was necessary to quickly find all the decoys at the exam, collect their answers, analyze them, and draw conclusions. None of the genin had ever been capable of this, with the exception of, I know. And the strangest thing is, none of the observers realized how Naruto was cheating. Did you notice anything else? Naruto brought 3 of his clones to the exam for some reason, and they left the room in the middle of the exam. But I don't know how that could help him. Lord Danzo? You may go, the voice said distantly. The shadow flashed behind the elderly man again, and he slowly wandered on, rhythmically tapping a wooden stick on the concrete floor. If someone had seen the old shinobi at that moment, they would not have believed their eyes. For the first time in many years, Danzo's face expressed emotions that he could not suppress. A crooked smile did not leave the corners of his lips for a long time. The day before, Danzo had spent his usual morning in the hidden archive library, searching for clues about the Uchiha's cache of secrets to the Sharingan. He leisurely flipped through the pages of an old, untitled tome, ignoring the annoying noise from the next room, where Naruto's clones were running around. Yesterday, it hadn't mattered, but today, almost nothing mattered. 2 shinobi sheets stood in the middle training glades, on which once upon a time one from them tried take-away bells at another. Kakashi-sensei, do you want to teach me a special technique? No. Do you know how many clones you can summon? Kakashi sat down on a log. 1,000, Naruto grinned. Exactly 1,000? I didn't count, Naruto scratched his head. How long can one clone last? I don't know, the boy felt a slight shame. How much damage can a clone receive before it dissipates? Kakashi continued insistently. I don't know, the feeling of shame intensified. Your incredible chakra reserves formed the wrong way of thinking, Naruto. You use techniques without thinking, but knowing their strengths and weaknesses is a prerequisite for their full disclosure. That's true, Databeo, Naruto nodded vigorously, frowning and folding his arms across his chest. He remembered how recently he didn't know what his clones were capable of, and no longer treated this issue superficially. I want you to determine the capabilities of your clone technique, Kakashi said, handing Naruto a notebook. What is this, sensei? I have collected here what you should check first. Naruto looked at the notebook and saw a list of questions. But do not be fooled by this list, Naruto. Learning a technique only ends with the death of its shinobi. I still know very little about my Sharingan, but have you heard of the copy ninja from the Uchiha clan? No, sensei, Naruto answered after thinking for a few seconds. Despite the fact that the Uchiha have owned the Sharingan for hundreds of years, they did not pay attention to all of its features. Studying its strongest techniques, they did not pay attention to the ability to copy other people's techniques. Kakashi lifted the bandage from his eye, revealing to Naruto a view of the Sharingan with a scar. This eye could have saved the young Uchiha an incredible amount of time if they copied techniques, and did not study them in the traditional way. Your clone technique holds secrets, Naruto. Do not leave them to others to solve. Having finished with the explanation, Kakashi put the eye patch back on and began to watch Naruto's further actions. Sensei, why don't you teach Sasuke the copy technique? Focus on the clone technique, Naruto. Kakashi said with an intonation that made it clear that their conversation was over. One day, Sasuke will have to revive the Uchiha clan. If he does not defeat the darkness in his heart, he cannot inherit this technique. Kakashi thought, remembering his old friend. Naruto ran his eyes over the first sheet of the notebook and realized that he knew almost nothing about his technique. 1. Maximum number of clones 2. Chakra consumption per clone 3. Maximum duration of a clone's existence 4. Conditions for dispelling a clone 5. Can clones create clones, and if so, how many? 6. How long can clone items exist separately from clones? 7. How far can clones travel? 8. Do clones have the same level of intelligence and character as Naruto? 9. Do clones need to eat? 10. Does a clone's physical strength depend on the amount of chakra transferred to it? 11. Do clones transfer the emotions they experience in the same way as memories when dispelled? 12. How do clones understand who is not a clone? 13. Can clones restore chakra? Naruto turned over a sheet of paper, then another, a third, a fourth. Kakashi-sensei, how can I find out all this? Naruto asked in shock. In order, Kakashi answered in a calm tone, turning the page of a book that appeared out of nowhere. Aika Aika Paradise. And continuing to read. Naruto had an idea. He decided to start checking with one noteworthy point. Having summoned 5 clones, he looked at them, and they nodded, simultaneously folded seals, summoning 5 more clones each. One of the first 5 dissipated, and with him, all the clones he had summoned dissipated. Several Narutos, exchanging glances with each other, made seals again, and soon the entire clearing was filled with boys in orange jackets conducting strange experiments. Not bad, Naruto, Kakashi said quietly, not taking his eyes off the book. An unremarkable elderly man with scars and a bandaged head leaned against a tree at the edge of the clearing and, with his eyes seemingly closed, silently watched the noisy orange clearing. Looking at him, it seemed as if you were looking into emptiness, and it was worth taking your eyes off him for just a moment, as thoughts of his existence disappeared along with memories of his frightening smile. Meanwhile, same during the day a little further, in forest. Lee, in spite of on that what yours muscles hurts, you must overcome myself by force youth. More 100 push-ups. Guy-sensei, I will do it more 1,000 push-ups. Lee. Tears of pride welled up on Guy's face. Guy-sensei. Rock Lee was touched. I will do push-ups with you, on one finger, to support you. Guy fell to the ground and began to do push-ups in rhythm with Lee. Ouch, oi! How tasteless you are, was heard from the tree branches. Rock Lee instantly jumped into a fighting stance, and saw Guy already looking somewhere up. Following his gaze, Lee shuddered. A man with a shark's face was sitting on the branch and looking at the two of them with hostility. You have completely perverted Chakra, the swordsman said with disgust. Samahata remembers her, and you must remember Samahata? The man with the shark's face turned to Guy. Fear flashed across Guy's face, which was quickly replaced by determination. Lee, run to the village. Oh, no, no, no. The shinobi pointed a strange sword at Rock Lee, who was preparing to run. Kisame, stop wasting time. A second shinobi with a sad face appeared. Rock Lee abruptly ran towards the village. Kisame rushed after him, but his path was blocked by Guy with 4 gates already open. Rock Lee managed to take only a couple of steps before a soft hand fell on his shoulder, which seemed to freeze him to the ground. Lee realized that he could not move. Fight like men, roared Guy. There should have been a drop of the will of fire left in you, Itachi. let it not let you kill the boy. We are not here for that. Where is the Jinchuriki? Itachi asked calmly. Naruto! Exclaimed Rock Lee and immediately shut himself up. Exactly, where is the boy? Hissed Kisame. Where you can't reach him. Kisame swung his sword, but Guy dodged and rushed behind Kisame. Guy's hand, hard as a stone, flew at Kisame's neck, but he sharply turned his head, trying to grab Guy's palm with his teeth. Guy jumped back, throwing a kunai into Kisame's wide-open mouth, but he only grabbed it with his teeth. The kunai exploded, and Kisame's head was covered in soot, but there was not a scratch on his face. Explosive seal? He. I've long wanted to know the taste of it. Kisame's smile made Lee uneasy. His teacher had always seemed like the strongest of the shinobi, but even when he opened the 4 gates, it seemed like the enemy was just playing around. Guy and Kisame's silhouettes blurred and Lee almost lost sight of them, hearing only the light buzzing of the air torn apart by the shinobi's blows. Lee wanted to help his sensei, but no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't move. The fight had only lasted a couple of minutes, but for Lee it felt like an eternity. His insides were clenching in fear from the overwhelming force that seemed like he would never be able to reach. Suddenly, a soft hand disappeared from his shoulder, and he was able to turn around, seeing Itachi jumping away from a kunai flying from somewhere above, and a wall of mud growing between them. A split second later, the place where Lee stood was covered in smoke and, only momentarily confused, he rushed to run, hearing a voice behind him that brought him incredible relief. What's going on here? The indignant voice of the 3rd burst onto the battlefield, forcing its participants to freeze. This small man gave the impression of a titan with his will alone. You're lucky, since you've been saved from Samahata for the 2nd time, Kisame grinned, stopping to reassess the balance of power. What do you want on Konoha territory? Sarutobi said, in a tone that didn't sound like a question at all. Just a trifle, give us the Jinchuriki. Kisame grinned. Not a single person will be betrayed by Konoha as long as I'm a Kage. The 3rd held his staff in front of him in a fighting pose. A barely noticeable emotion flashed across Itachi's face. Well, you won't be a Kage for long. Kisame licked his lips. There are 5 more Jonin-level shinobi approaching, Itachi said calmly. Today is your day, Kisame addressed Guy, putting Samahata behind his back. Kisame jumped back and disappeared among the branches along with Itachi. A second later, a bizarre old man appeared on the former battlefield, accompanied by 4 masked shinobi. 3rd, are you all safe? The old man quickly asked. Yes, Jiraiya-sama, training field nearby in 10 minutes to this. Kakashi felt like near from Guy's gate opened on him. A second later, the summoned Pakken was running towards Konoha, and Kakashi was running into the forest. Naruto wanted to ask him what happened, but before he could open his mouth, Kakashi disappeared. Dodging countless branches, Kakashi rhythmically ran towards Guy's aura, while preparing for battle. He counted the supplies in his bag, threw out unnecessary things, sighing especially heavily, leaving behind an unfinished book. Then he used the technique of hiding chakra on himself and transformed into the 3rd, took a kunai in one hand, and folded the other into half a seal to summon a wall of mud. When Jiraiya arrived to place, he was surprised to meet their 3rd. Through a second he more was surprised to see how 3rd turns into Hatake Kakashi, but not giving to this values, immediately rushed to pursue the violators. Chapter 3. Pursuit of Violators. Naruto experimented with the clone technique until late at night and managed to make several unexpected discoveries. 1. Memories were transmitted not only by dispelled clones, but also by their objects. A kunai thrown into the forest disappeared a few minutes after being thrown, while giving Naruto vague sensations of what was in the part of the forest where the kunai hit. 2. Naruto could intercept control over clones of clones. When clones created their clones, Naruto did not gain control over them and almost did not feel them. But at will, he could intercept the connection, and when the clone that created them dispelled, the subclones remained. 3. Chakra was divided between clones in equal amounts, but when creating subclones, this limitation was bypassed and it was possible to create a clone with the required amount of chakra. for clones might not dispel even with critical wounds. It all depended on how Naruto controlled the chakra. Usually it was not wise to waste chakra on wounded clones, but in some situations it could help. Naruto wrote down everything he could find out to later show the results to Kakashi, who had suddenly disappeared somewhere. Incredibly tired, Naruto walked along the streets of Konoha, bathed in the warm sunset light. Enjoying the thoughts of how he would show off his technique to Sakura, Naruto did not notice how his legs carried him to Ichiraku Ramen. Kakashi, I knew that I could count on you, because you are my best opponent. Drunk guy hugged Kakashi, bursting into tears. Yes, Kakashi sighed, patting Guy on the back. Demon swordsman of the mist. I trained all my life to become stronger, but this is not enough. Starting tomorrow, I will begin a course of real training in the power of youth, exclaimed Guy, drinking another shot. Naruto? Kakashi turned his attention to the newly arrived visitor. Kakashi-sensei, where did you disappear to today? Naruto asked, puzzled. I felt Guy used the gate technique. This technique is only used when life is in danger. Sensei, why didn't you take me with you? I'm already a shinobi. Naruto asked, offended. Something threatened Guy's life, and you're still a genin, Naruto. In addition to strength, reaction time is one of the main qualities of a professional shinobi. The Konoha Jonins got to the scene of the battle faster than you could have. Naruto, huh? Exclaimed the drunk Guy. I feel your youthful strength, but it hasn't blossomed yet. You should train with Lee sometime. I'm already a shinobi, Naruto proudly declared, adjusting the bandage on his forehead. His eyes were so bright that all the fatigue disappeared from his face. Old man, a bowl of ramen for me. Naruto jumped behind the counter and, no longer participating in the conversation of two old friends, began to eat ramen. Jiraiya pursued attacker shinobi by forest. To him not gave peace misunderstanding of why such strong shinobi came so close to Konoha and showed open aggression. Jiraiya many years worked spy and he had been collecting data, but he had never encountered such crude methods. There was something that could help him figure it out. He had left Gamakichi with Kakashi a few minutes ago, and they should have finished their conversation. Jiraiya summoned Gamakichi to his palm without slowing down for a second. Yo, they were missing Nin, Itachi and Kisame. They were looking for the Jinchuriki, Gamakichi said with an indifferent face. Oh, one more thing. They were wearing strange cloaks, black with red clouds. Jiraiya felt even more confused. Next time, call me when you eat teppanyaki. With these words, Gamakichi disappeared in a small cloud of smoke. Itachi definitely wouldn't use such methods if he really wanted to find the Jinchuriki. Until their goals are clear, it's better to strengthen Naruto's defense. I think he was just old enough for me to take him as my apprentice. And why were they wearing Akatsuki cloaks? How old was Yahiko when I started training him? Jiraiya pursued the missing Nin from a distance, using the transparent escape technique to make himself invisible, and lagging behind their targets for about 15 minutes. By the middle of the night, he noticed that they were slowing down and stopped. Using his partial Sannin mode, he gathered nature chakra to enhance his hearing. Unfortunately, Itachi barely spoke to Kisame, and Kisame's words weren't helpful. After waiting a little longer, Jiraiya saw a small bird made of folded paper flying towards Itachi. That's Conan's technique. Could it be that she's still alive? With Itachi asleep and Kisame keeping an eye on his surroundings, Jiraiya decided it was time to begin. Having crept closer, he began to fold the seals and clearly pronounced, Kuchios no Jutsu, Gamaguchi Shirbari. Kisame tried to jump back, but something similar to a tentacle pulled him back by the leg, and a second later he found himself inside a strange place that resembled the insides of the stomach. Having finally seen his opponent, Kisame tried to get closer to him, but could not tear his feet off the floor. Having pulled out Samahata, he began to chop the walls and the floor, but it did not help. Itachi was completely captured and lay on the floor, slowly falling into it. Using his free hands, he tried to use Keton, but it seemed that these walls could not be even slightly scorched with fire. After another 10 seconds, they were completely immobilized. It's time to talk. Jiraiya folded his arms on his chest. The legendary Sannin, yes, Kisame grinned. Why do you think that? I will tell you something. I noticed that there is something important for you, swordsman of the mist. Of course, I do not understand you, said Jiraiya, pulling out something similar to a whetstone from his bag. And what is it? Who sent you? Asked Jiraiya, not really expecting an answer. You should be grateful to us, old shinobi. One day you will be. We'll see. Jiraiya took Kisame by the jaw and, opening it, began to grind down his teeth. The malicious smile instantly disappeared from Kisame's face and he began to break free. Having filed one of his teeth in half, Jiraiya stopped. Who sent you? The heir of the Sage of the Six Paths. Kisame spat angrily. Jiraiya's face twisted and he whispered, Nagato. Behind him, Itachi, who was almost drowning in the toad's folds, suddenly transformed into crows and flew away like birds, reassembling near the edge of the stomach. Amaterasu, he shouted. Fire engulfed the walls of the toad's stomach. Jiraiya barely managed to jump back and cancel the summoning technique when he felt how quickly his chakra supporting the summoning was disappearing. Seeing that Amaterasu required a lot of concentration from Itachi, Jiraiya spat a gout of burning oil at him. Dodging the oil, Itachi lost his concentration for a second and the fire from the ground spread to Kisame, who was still trapped in the spilled stomach juices. Kisame caught fire and screamed for a split second, but almost immediately turned into water and spread out. Water clone. Jiraiya realized too late, hearing Kisame's voice behind him, shouting, Water prison! Finding himself in the water, immobilized and deprived of air, Jiraiya focused and began to chaotically rotate his chakra around himself, as if creating a faulty raisin gun, and after a few seconds the trap was torn apart by splashes in different directions. Turning around, he saw Kisame, who was holding him in prison, melting into a puddle with a malicious smile. They escaped? Jiraiya realized and, after fruitlessly searching for their trace for another 15 minutes, he exhaled and went back to Konoha. For some hours to this. No one human not will devoted Konoha, by Kage. Put it out before by yourself. Staff v combat pose third. On a barely noticeable emotion flashed across Itachi's face. The third would never allow himself to say such a thing in front of me. Well, you won't be Kage for long. Kisame licked his lips. There are 5 more Jonin-level shinobi approaching, Itachi said calmly. He always moved accompanied by several ravens to avoid surprises. One of the ravens circling over the forest saw Jiraiya and 4 Anbu shinobi. Today is your day, Kisame addressed Guy, putting Samahata behind his back. Kisame jumped back and disappeared among the branches along with Itachi. A second later, a bizarre old man appeared on the field accompanied by 4 masked shinobi. Itachi continued to observe the situation through the ravens. As expected, Jiraiya almost immediately set off in pursuit of them. The third is no longer young. Jiraiya will most likely become the next Kage. He should definitely know about it. A thought flashed through Itachi's head. He left one of the ravens sitting on a branch where he had just run. About 12 minutes later, Jiraiya appeared in this place, and the raven activated a very powerful prepared genjutsu. Jiraiya stopped in place, and stood there until late at night. Finally, as if nothing had happened, he turned around and ran back towards Konoha. Chapter 3, Part 2. Meeting Jiraiya. Sakura-chan. Naruto muttered under his breath, closing his eyes and relaxing in the onsen. Today, for the first time in a long time, he found a minute to rest and came to the hot springs, but thoughts about Sakura did not give him peace. He still could not forget her face, reaching out to him to kiss, when he transformed into Sasuke. That annoying Sasuke gets all the girls, and he only wants himself. It's not fair. Hee hee, hee hee hee. Naruto heard satisfied laughter, which someone seemed to choke on. Opening his eyes and turning his head, he saw a strange old man with long gray hair, who leaned his ear against the partition with the women's part of the springs. Laughing maliciously, he rolled his eyes, while his right hand wrote something down in a notebook without looking. Asen, why are you eavesdropping on the wall? Oh, kid, I'm writing a book, the old man said without looking up from the wall. What book? Don't bother me. He, the old man quickly folded the seals and his ears slightly increased in size. What kind of technique is this, Asen? Naruto jumped out of the water with curiosity. He. Asen. He. Seeing that he was being ignored, Naruto confidently folded the seals and in his place a fog formed, from which an attractive young girl began to peek out. Oh? The old man turned around abruptly, and almost fell on his back. Smack! The girl blew the old man a kiss and a drop of blood peeked out of his nostril. Not bad, the old man praised, sitting in the lotus position and nodding his head. The girl smiled impudently and, having folded the seals, again summoned the fog, from which 3 attractive girls now peeked out. The old man was blown away by the aura of this incredible technique, and he fell on his back, and blood gushed from his nostrils. Quickly coming to his senses, he returned back to the lotus position and wiped the blood under his nose. Not bad at all, the old man praised again. But a good shinobi should not only create an image, but also give it a personality. What do you mean, uncle? The girl in the center asked, putting her finger to her mouth and arching her back. The old man was thrown back onto his back by the power of this incredible technique, but coughing and muttering under his breath that children grow up too fast these days. He sat back down. What did you call this technique? Harem technique. Naruto proudly rubbed his nose, returning to his usual appearance. Kunoichi often hold important positions in the shinobi world. When a shinobi is required to transform into a girl during missions, everything goes awry. The old man said with the face of a sage. Naruto thought about it. He had to use clones quite often lately, and the transformation technique complemented shadow cloning very well, but he really didn't know how to turn into a kunoichi. He was exposed very quickly, because he didn't understand girls at all. Ero-sennin, can you teach me this technique? I'm very busy, the old man answered, returning to his notebook. Well, please, Naruto said, turning into a girl again. Humph. Okay. The old man slammed the notebook shut and put it in his bag, jumping up. A perverted smile spread across his face. Then you'll have to turn into someone older, kid. Ero-sennin, where shall we go? In very respected place. It gives to the warriors peace and to that same serves excellent source of information for shinobi. The old man answered seriously. And why didn't Kakashi-sensei show it to me? Doesn't he consider me a shinobi yet? But Sasuke doesn't know about it either. I'll be one step ahead of him. Charged with a serious working mood, Naruto followed the old man. They turned into a quiet street that would not fit more than one adult. Passing the piled boxes, they came to a wooden door sunken into the ground. A dim red lantern illuminated the hieroglyph, hearth, written in charcoal. Jiraiya modestly knocked on the door 3 times and a moment later it opened. The first thing Naruto smelled was a strong aromatic smell. Jiraiya-sama, as always, we are glad to see you, the woman bowed helpfully. I apologize for not stopping by. I had business, the old man answered, smiling. Of course, such an important person cannot have much time, the woman smiled back and led them along a short passage to the second door. The second door was round and had a pattern similar to a sliced pie or a spider web. With soft movements of her hands, the woman began to fold unfamiliar seals. Naruto had never seen ninjutsu look like dance movements. Having finished folding the seals, the woman ran her finger along her lip, slightly staining it with bright lipstick, and put her palm to the center of the door. A light smoke came from the contours of the door. Women's giggles and loud voices became audible. Please come in. The woman stepped aside, allowing the guests to enter. Naruto saw a large room filled with light smoke. It had several areas of pillows folded in a semicircle. In these areas, men surrounded by women were drinking something. One of the girls standing nearby in traditional thin robes turned to the guests who had arrived and raised her hands up with a joyful face. Jiraiya-sama. She ran up to the old man and hugged him. Mitsuki, the woman accompanying the guests, looked at the girl disapprovingly. Sorry. The girl tilted her head to the side and smiled conciliatorily. It's okay, the smiling old man answered. And who is this with you today? The girl turned her gaze to Naruto. Guy, introduce yourself. The old man pushed him in the back. On the way to this place, Jiraiya pointed Naruto at one of the guys passing by and asked him to copy his appearance, making some changes. Now Naruto looked like a tall, dark-haired guy. Kiba. Kiba Tashirama, nice to meet you. Naruto quickly bowed. Mitsuki, will you introduce him to your hospitality? Asked Jiraiya. Okay, Jiraiya-sama, follow me. Kiba-sen. The girl pulled Naruto by the hand. Ero-senin? Naruto cried out. Who? The old man asked, smiling, and without waiting for an answer, went to one of the zones accompanied by a woman. Kiba-san, what drinks do you like? Mitsuki turned attention to herself. Naruto frowned seriously. I usually drink milk. Good, Mitsuki answered and made a gesture to the girl standing near the wall. Mitsuki led Naruto to a separate room covered with pillows and invited him to settle down on them. You must be tired, Kiba-san. Let me give you a massage while the drinks are preparing. Without waiting for an answer, Mitsuki began to massage his shoulders. Naruto wanted to refuse, but feeling the touch of her hands, he closed his eyes, imagining that Sakura was giving him a massage. For a split second he enjoyed it, but the Sakura from his fantasy a moment later swung her fist and hit him in the ear with all her might, screaming, What made you think that I would give you a massage, Shinaro? Naruto tensed up, and the fantasy dissipated, bringing him back to reality. Mitsuki, sensing Naruto's sudden tension, pulled his jacket down from his shoulders and began massaging his skin, which was not covered by his shirt. Feeling her gentle hands, Naruto relaxed and drove away his thoughts about Sakura. How old are you, sister? Naruto turned to Mitsuki and saw her breasts under the robe, exposed while she leaned towards him. She was so close that thousands of thoughts managed to rush through Naruto's head. I won't tell. The girl smiled and stood up to go to the door and take the tray with milk. Your drink, sir. Okay, Databeo. Naruto accepted the milk contentedly and began to sip it. The milk had a strange aftertaste, but Naruto was used to drinking it from time to time and did not say anything. Is something bothering you, sir? Seeing how Naruto's face became gloomy again during the past minute of silence, Mitsuki asked. No, Naruto kicked back, again dispersing thoughts about Sakura, whose voice never sounded as soft as Mitsuki's when he spoke to her. But her voice always changed when she started talking to Sasuke. Naruto understood that now. Is it a girl? Yes, sister. After Naruto finished drinking the milk, he felt relaxed and opened his feelings to someone for the first time. Well, what learned? Asked old man when they found themselves on the street again. Because you shouldn't trust perverts. You lied to me, Ero-senin. Naruto shouted indignantly. How come? There's no information there. This isn't a special place for shinobi, it's a place for perverts like you. You didn't like Mitsuki? No, little sister, and you didn't tell her anything special? The old man grinned confidently. Naruto thought, remembering how he felt a warmth he'd never felt before, and how he told her everything that was on his mind. Ero-senin, what kind of technique is that? Oh, it's an incredible technique. And if you don't learn it, you won't be able to pretend to be a kunoichi. Yee? Kunoichi never do that. Really? And then Naruto again remembered how Sakura behaved with Sasuke. And how she argued with Ino. And how her adult kunoichi different from his classmates. But that's disgusting, Ero-senin. I won't act like a girl. In the place we were in, women give men much less than they want, and take much more than men are willing to give. Kunoichi without the proper skills have to give up their body to get information. Yeah? Naruto blushed. A man pretending to be a kunoichi is very easy to spot. He will be disgusted by the advances of men. But in this place, women do not let you go too far. I don't understand, Ero-senin. Naruto frowned. Yeah, I'm too drunk, and you're too young. Jiraiya yawned. But without understanding this, you will not become a good reconnaissance shinobi. Maybe I'll see you again, kid. The old man said and winked, disappearing with a pop of smoke. This old man. Naruto turned around to go back to his house, but he remembered where this strange place was just in case. On this peaceful night, he thought more about the warmth of Mitsuki's arms than about Sakura. Chapter 4. Paths of the Clones. There was silence in the small room, littered with junk. The sun was just beginning to rise, but Naruto was not sleeping. Yesterday he had left one of the clones at home to find out when he would run out of chakra from inactivity. Out of boredom, the clone fell asleep. And this led to an unexpected result. The clone's chakra was restored during rest, and his vigor was transferred to Naruto, and now he could not fall asleep. Now he did not want to sleep at all, and this scared Naruto. He lived at a frantic pace and he had little time to think about anything distracted from the path of the shinobi. But over the past night, he realized the incredible changes that had occurred in him. In one day of training with clones, he lived more than a year of life. It was scary. Naruto received so many memories in one moment that it seemed to him that someone else lived this year filled with training for him. He felt like he lost a year of life in one day. Looking closely at himself in the mirror, he saw that nothing had changed. He hadn't gotten any older, but inside, it was an indescribable feeling. Thinking about just one technique during his training, he came up with so many thoughts that his entire past life seemed incredibly stupid to him. He had never thought so much about anything, not even about becoming Hokage, not even about his parents. Every technique he had, every strategy he had used before, seemed superficial to him. The Hokage position. Naruto talked about it so much, but he had never seriously thought about how to become one. Training to become the strongest, that seemed enough to him. All he did was train techniques, but the other students of the academy trained too. If this was how to become Hokage, everyone would one day. But normal training was not enough. Now, with clones, Naruto could train more than any shinobi in history. There was a week left until the second stage of the Chunin exams, but for Naruto, 1 week could become 7 years of training. Standing on training glades and hard breathe, Naruto realized that worked all available at him techniques to ideal A. To understand how to train further, Naruto began to look for Kakashi, but could not find him, even with the help of clones. Finally realizing that he would not be able to find Kakashi, he went to his old teacher. Iruka-sensei! Naruto shouted, bursting into the teacher's room of the Shinobi Academy. Naruto, behave decently. Iruka reproached him, looking sideways with an apologetic glance at the old man standing next to him. Iya Ero-senin? Naruto pointed his finger at the old man in surprise. This is Jiraiya-sama, one of the 3 great Sennin of Konoha, Iruka proudly declared. The old man stood in a strange pose and rhythmically tapped his wooden sandals and began to dance, spinning around himself with his arms outstretched. It's just Ero-senin, Naruto said with an indifferent face, with such confidence, as if he knew much more about him than anyone else. He was looking for you, Naruto. Yes? Why? Naruto was surprised. I will train you. Jiraiya stopped, frozen in a strange pose. Ero-senin does not look like a strong shinobi, Naruto said disinterestedly. Jiraiya put his hand to the side and a blue light slowly began to emerge in it. It gradually became brighter, larger and more swirling until it formed a small ball. This is Rasengan, the legendary technique of the 4th. Iruka said in surprise, carefully studying Jiraiya's actions. One day I can teach you this technique, Naruto. Cool. Teach me now. It's not that easy. First you need to learn to control chakra. I can control chakra. Can you walk on water? Jiraiya asked. No, but I can walk on trees, Databeo. Walking on water is much more difficult. Iruka explained in his usual instructive tone. Then teach me to walk on water. Naruto asked. Okay. Jiraiya grinned. Come to the bridge after lunch. Standing at bridge view waiting Jiraiya, Naruto suddenly felt myself overfed ramen. He already got used to it not dispel clones and forgot do this after searches Kakashi. These charlatans set off there as ramen and ate V duty on all his money and... Feeling very irritated, Naruto made an effort to control the clones and sent them to train until they worked off all the bowls they had eaten. Naruto, Someone's voice was heard and Naruto began to look around. Looking down, he saw Jiraiya calmly walking along the river towards him. "Jump down, the water is nice today," the old man called, waving his hand. Naruto jumped into the water and, to his surprise, landed on its surface. It was a strange sensation. Looking down, he felt like he should fall, but for some reason he didn't. "How am I standing?" Naruto asked in surprise. "Don't think about it. Try closing your eyes and concentrating on what you feel." Naruto followed the old man's advice and closed his eyes. At first, it seemed that the water was calm, but after a minute he began to clearly notice light waves rolling in one after another. He felt with his feet how he was stepping on these waves and how they supported him. "Try releasing chakra like when walking on a tree," Jiraiya suggested, and a second later the water splashed under Naruto's feet and began to splash in different directions. "Excellent, now try to redirect the chakra. Now it presses you to the water, direct it so that it pushes you away." Naruto obediently tried to redirect the chakra and the circles on the water intensified again. "Not bad at all. Is this your first time trying this?" "Yes. Your chakra control is better than I expected. With your level, it will only take a couple of weeks for you to learn to stand firmly on the water." Jiraiya nodded approvingly. Naruto grinned and decided that he would be able to surprise Aro Sennin. He sent commands to several clones to practice this technique. Training glade represented by yourself's strange picture. Huge set identical boys v orange jackets fought friend with friend. Part from them tired sat with trying to catch his breath. "Naruto is training with a teacher, while we are doing stupid things," one of the clones said indignantly. "Yes. This taijutsu can be trained endlessly, but you will not become stronger. In battle, everything is decided by techniques anyway." The second clone answered him. "Guys, I have an idea." "Yeah, me too." "I'll say it first." The clones interrupted each other. "We also need teachers." "Yes. I thought the same thing. Training with a teacher is much faster." Stopping trying to shout down those around them, the clones nodded to each other in unison and ran in different directions. A small part of the clones looked disapprovingly at the troublemakers and continued training, and some for some reason went to the water. This day for a long time remembered residents Konoha. Hundreds boys v orange jackets noses were scattered throughout the village, confusing everyone. On this day, the same boy knocked on the doors of all the shinobi clans. Nara Amato, Hyuga, Inuzuka, Yamanaka, Akimichi, Sarutobi, even Aburame. Naruto's clones looked for teachers wherever they could. They were competitive and everyone tried to be the first to find a good teacher. At some point, one of the police shinobi even approached Naruto's clone and asked him not to cause a disturbance. Naruto's clone looked around and realized that everyone was looking at him. Without thinking twice, he decided to use the transformation technique so as not to attract attention and continued his search. In the end, among all the attempts, only Might Guy agreed to train the clone, and after that, several other clones also joined him as students. The disappointed clones went to the library in hopes of finding good instructions for powerful techniques from the common ones. One from clones came in the most dusty hall libraries where were stored books about stories. Having decided that here he nothing interesting to find and already getting ready to leave, Naruto's clone heard a creaky voice. "Are you looking for strength, young genin?" "Yes." "Asen, where are you hiding?" The clone began to look around the room in surprise. "Do you know that without a root there will be no foliage?" The clone continued to turn his head until he noticed that the shelves standing by one of the walls were slowly moving apart. Behind them stood an old man with a face covered in scars. His head was bandaged, and his only healthy hand held a wooden cane. The man, without blinking, looked into the clone's eyes. "Follow me, and I will give you what you are looking for," the old man said dryly and, without waiting for an answer, turned around, slowly walking into the depths of the opening, leaving behind only the echo of the rhythmic knocking of the wooden cane. The clone thought for a second and, looking around the boring library hall, decided that following the old man would be more interesting than staying here. When he walked through the doorway, it smoothly closed, leaving him in the darkness. The clone followed the sound of the cane and quickly caught up with the old man. What is this place? The boy asked casually. Have you heard of Root? The old man said calmly. No, the clone answered after thinking for a second. Konoha was formed from many clans. They all had their own ambitions, contradictory and often cruel. But they all also had the desire to find peace, to give way to new shoots. At that time, the most far-sighted shinobi of the clans formed an alliance called Root. This alliance was called to prevent the future of Konoha from fading away. This is what the Hokage does, Databeo, the clone proudly declared. He couldn't imagine the world of the past that the old man was talking about, but he understood that the shinobi of the past wanted to protect Konoha, just like the Hokage wanted. That's what the Hokage should do, the old man answered a little sharply. We help him with that. He softened his words. You said that you could teach me techniques, OSS. Naruto's clone started to say, Asen, out of habit, but something in the old man made him stop. I can. The Root has been keeping the legacy of all the clans since the founding of Konoha, preventing its power from fading when the clans are going through hard times. Like the Uzumaki clan, for example. The old man said mysteriously. Do you know something about my clan? The clone asked with a trembling voice. I know. And I'll tell you. The clone tried to push aside the inner excitement from the old man's words, but it was impossible if you enter the Root. Chapter 5. Paths of the Clones Part 2. Jiraiya sat thoughtfully on the edge of the bank, looking at the boy happily running on the water. He couldn't understand what was happening. In his opinion, it was absolutely impossible. No shinobi, not even Yahiko, was able to learn so quickly. He even checked several times whether it was Naruto in front of him, but he couldn't find any signs of the reincarnation technique. Desperate to find an explanation, he tried to ask the boy himself, Naruto, you were able to learn to walk on water in less than 2 hours. Jiraiya said thoughtfully. I told you that I would become Hokage, Databeo. Naruto smiled proudly. What exactly did you do while trying to control the chakra? I did everything as you said, Erosenin. In that case, it should have taken you several weeks to learn. Hehe, teach me another technique, Erosenin. Naruto asked contentedly. I didn't think I'd have to use it so early, Jiraiya said. Summoning technique. A toad appeared in front of Naruto, with an old man standing on its head. The toad opened its mouth and, unrolling its tongue into a roll, held out a large scroll. Naruto, open this scroll. Yes. With its help, you will make a contract with the toads and will be able to summon them. This scroll was passed down from generation to generation until it ended up in my possession. Write your name in it with blood and leave fingerprints of the hand with which you want to perform the summoning. Good. Can I summon with both hands? This is against tradition, but I think Ijiji-sama will not be offended. Leave fingerprints of both hands. Is that correct? Naruto asked after finishing signing the contract. Yes, now try using the technique. The seals are boar, dog, bird, monkey, ram. Erosenin, please repeat. Naruto asked, narrowing his eyes in tension. Boar, dog, bird, monkey, ram. Jiraiya said slowly. While Jiraiya was naming the seals, Naruto was folding them and at the end, repeating after Jiraiya, he put his palm to the ground. A light smoke came out from under his palm and when it dissipated, a small tadpole appeared on the ground, which began to twitch. Seeing this, Jiraiya tensed up, abruptly pulled the gourd from his belt and, filling it with water from the river, carefully placed the tadpole in it. How do you like it, Erosenin? I got it the first time. I'm a great shinobi. Naruto chuckled. Unexpectedly hopeless. Jiraiya shook his head. Cancel the summoning immediately if you see that the toad cannot speak. Why? Naruto asked offendedly. It's like summoning a baby. His parents will definitely not be happy. It looks like you have very little chakra right now. Where did you spend it just by training to walk on water? Actually. Naruto told Jiraiya about the clones that were training in different parts of Konoha at the time, and how it helped him learn many times faster. Haha, So that's how you were able to learn to walk on water so quickly. Jiraiya was delighted. He was Naruto's godfather, and treated him like a grandson. Jiraiya realized that with this technique, Naruto would certainly be able to become an outstanding shinobi, like his father. Naruto bashfully scratched the back of his head, feeling that he had deceived the old man a little. Excellent, Naruto. Let your clones continue to waste your chakra, this is exactly what we need now. You told me about the red chakra that gave you strength. This chakra hidden in you is a source of enormous power. I want you to learn how to use it. Really? Really? I have incredible powers? Yes, but learning to use them will not be easy. These powers are revealed only when you are on the verge of death. You need to learn to use them at will. Try to use them for summoning and not die. Good luck, Naruto, Jiraiya said with a smile and pushed him hard into the bushes. What? Naruto shouted, flying through the greenery. A few seconds later, he felt himself falling and realized that he was flying down into a gorge. The bottom was not visible and he would not survive a fall from such a height. Naruto tried to grab onto the ledges of the walls, but they had a strange conical shape and were incredibly slippery. The speed of the fall was increasing, along with a feeling of fear twisting his stomach. Crazy old man! I can't die here, I have to become Hokage! Filled with determination, Naruto folded the seals and put his hand under himself. Suddenly for himself, he realized that the gorge disappeared and he found himself in a strange dark corridor. Naruto got scared and started looking around, but there was no one around, only the falling drops of leaking pipes could be heard. Naruto carefully walked down the corridor and soon found himself in a large windowless hall, similar to a basement. Part of the hall was cut off by a huge grate, behind which Naruto heard heavy breathing. Carefully approaching, he began to peer into the darkness until he saw two huge eyes burning into him with fury. You dared to come to me, puppy? Thundered a bloodthirsty voice. Naruto took a few steps back from surprise and stumbling, fell. Who are you? The boy said in a feigned bold voice. I will kill you as soon as I get out of here. The prisoner threateningly waved his claws, almost reaching Naruto. Who are you? Naruto repeated the question insistently. I know why you came here. The voice hissed poisonously. And today I will help you. But do not forget, my revenge will be great. Don't you dare forget this for a second. A voice screamed furiously and a row of huge sharp teeth clanged in front of Naruto. A frightened Naruto saw himself falling into the ravine again, but a split second later something huge and soft appeared under his outstretched palm, stopping his fall. What is this place? Where did that pervert summon me again? A displeased voice said from somewhere below. Returning home late in the evening, Naruto discovered some clones watching TV. He felt myself exhausted, however. Hoping good to sleep and not wishing share this privilege with by anyone from clones, he cancelled call. Through in an instant, a huge number of variations of how his day had gone appeared in his head. He learned a huge number of things, learned new taijutsu techniques, but what was most surprising was that he received a thread leading to his family. Naruto noticed that the longer the clones existed, the more independent they were. Their capabilities were not limited to simple training or tricks. With their help he could do many things that he himself did not have time for. A little earlier, past the Chiraku Ramen passed more and more people. As the finals of the Chunin exams approached, the number of visitors to the village increased. It was even said that the daimyo were going to hold a meeting of the leaders of all the countries before the tournament. How are your preparations going, Naruto? I am asked with a friendly smile. Great, little sister. I will definitely become a Chunin, Databeo. Naruto said confidently. You will have less time to come here if you become a Chunin. I am noted sadly. That's not true, little sister. I will definitely continue. Naruto, breaking off in mid-sentence, disappeared into the haze with a pow sound. Oh, these shinobi, so rude. I am said discontentedly, removing the plate. The next day, Naruto again created many clones and they all went their separate ways. Naruto himself went to the library. When he approached the familiar shelves by the wall, they parted, and he was able to get into a long corridor. After many forks and turns, he arrived at a place where an old man with scars was already waiting for him. It was a strange round hall, in the center of which stood a lonely small tree, surrounded by small stones. Light fell on it through a hole in the ceiling, and there was nothing else in the room. The old man trimmed the branches of the tree, giving it a shape somewhat resembling a spiral. "You came," the old man said without turning around. "Yes." "So, you have made a decision?" "You are too suspicious. I do not like it." "Suspicious? It means that you do not understand who I am. Isn't this what a real shinobi should be like? After all, the word itself means one who hides. I came to tell you that I will not join the route. My goal is to become Hokage. And if you don't want to talk, I will find out for myself what happened to my clan, Databeo. One way or another, you will serve your village." The old man returned to trimming the branches. "Of course, Databeo," Naruto agreed. "Tsunade," the old man said when Naruto was already preparing to leave. "What?" Naruto stopped. "It seems she is now your closest relative. You can ask Jiraiya about her." Realizing that the old man would not say anything more, Naruto went to the exit. A multitude shinobi gathered at Gate V Forest Deaths. Atmosphere stood more tense than on past stage. After all, according to rumors, this time the participants will have to fight each other. After waiting for the appointed hour, a kunoichi came out to the participants and introduced herself. "I, Mitarashi Anko, will be conducting this stage of the exam. Each team will be given one of two scrolls. A scroll of heaven or a scroll of earth. Your goal is to arrive at the tower in the middle of the forest in 5 days, having both scrolls with you. If one of the team members is unable to continue, the team is eliminated. If any of the team members looks at the scroll, the team is eliminated." Anko said monotonously with a bored face. "Did I forget something?" She turned to one of the assistants. "Oh, right. For those who are not from Konoha, the Forest of Death is known for its dangerous animals and poisonous plants. Try not to die. Now, go to the counter to pick up the scroll and get your gate number." Sasuke stood next to Sakura, who continued to be nervous. "Where is this Naruto? If the Uzuritanki doesn't show up, I'll summon a clone and it will turn into Naruto." Sasuke answered indifferently. He was sure that Naruto would show up. "But then we'll be disqualified," Sakura whined. Even though she seemed upset on the outside, she was relieved on the inside. She really didn't want to go into that horrible forest of death where she or Sasuke could die. "I just hope that idiot never shows up." But just as she was thinking about him, she noticed his orange jacket in the crowd, approaching them. Naruto looked terrible again. His jacket was so dirty it looked like it hadn't been washed for months. His whole face was scratched and bruised, but he had that idiotic grin on as usual. "Sakura-chan, hi." "Sasuke, it's been a while." Naruto greeted her amiably. Sasuke remained silent in response. He felt bad even thinking about this idiot who scored more points than him. Even training around the clock couldn't suppress the anxiety inside Sasuke, caused by lagging behind Naruto. But during this exam, he would prove to himself that he was stronger. The three approached the counter and received the sky scroll and the gate number. While they were walking to the gate to the forest, Sasuke began to voice the strategy. "The goal of the stage is to take the scroll from the other team. The easiest way is to take the scroll from the weak and quickly go to the center. Fighting with equals is too risky. When you meet those who are stronger, you need to run," Sasuke began. "Yes, and the strongest team most likely will not look for anyone and will immediately go to the tower to take the scrolls from those who arrive there." Naruto nodded, surprising Sakura and Sasuke even more. Did Naruto just say something sensible? Not paying attention, Sasuke continued. "Strong teams will quickly complete the task and go to the tower. The later the team arrives, the weaker it is. We need to watch the tower and count the teams. When there are only a few left, we will fight them," Sasuke confidently stated. "What if the last ones have the same scrolls as us?" Sakura asked anxiously. "We will start attacking as soon as teams weaker than us start arriving. In my opinion, our strength is above average. We will have enough scrolls. Sasuke finished calmly. I would suggest that we unite with other teams from Konoha on the way to the tower if possible, and also hang this scroll around Sakura's neck. Naruto suggested, pulling out a copy of the Sky Scroll from somewhere. Let's add to this a request not to attack, to look weak. This will discourage half of the teams, and we will fight the other half, and if strong ones attack us and we cannot escape, we will pretend to surrender and give this fake. They will not be able to check it anyway. To prove his words, Naruto handed Sasuke and Sakura another scroll so that they could make sure they couldn't tell them apart from the original. But instead of checking the scrolls, they stared at Naruto, exchanged glances, and abruptly jumped away from him, pulling out kunai. Who are you and where is Naruto? Sasuke said threateningly, taking a fighting stance. What's wrong with you? Naruto looked at them in surprise. Naruto would never say something like that. And he'd be staring at my face half the time. At the last words, Sakura blushed and began to glance at Sasuke, hoping to see his reaction, but he seemed to not pay attention to her words. What was the name of the shinobi we fought in the Land of Water? Sasuke asked. Haku, Naruto answered, perplexed. What do you hate the most? Waiting for ramen to cook. Naruto frowned. Yeah, that's our Naruto. Sakura calmed down and lowered the kunai. Sasuke did the same. What happened to you these days? Did you take some kind of brain potion? Nothing, I was just training and reading strategy books in the library. Naruto answered with a shrug. Did you read books? Sakura couldn't understand what exactly had changed so much in Naruto, but it seemed like he had become a little more mature. She wondered, is this really how people become adults? Will this happen to me too? Sasuke, meanwhile, was checking the scroll that Naruto had given him and, having made sure that he couldn't see any differences from the original even using the Sharingan, he returned the scroll. I don't know what kind of technique this is, Naruto, but we'll need it. It seemed that for the first time in a long time, a note of respect for Naruto slipped into Sasuke's voice. I'm not finished yet. Naruto drew attention to himself again when his comrades calmed down. I will call the shadow clones and send them to different parts of the forest to give us information. The shinobi accompanying their team couldn't stop being amazed at their abilities at such a young age. It seems Konoha really is breeding monsters.